Councilmember Goodspeed and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper. Here. Councilmember Beaton. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Here. Councilmember
Goodspeed.
Here.
Mayor Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Here.
Councilmember Pontiac. Here. City Manager.
Here.
City Attorney.
Here.
DPW Director.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Public Safety Director.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Thank you. Public hearings, we have none. Citizen comments on agenda-related items. This is an opportunity for citizens that are present to speak on items that are on the agenda. If you wish to speak on an agenda-related item, please come forward, state your name and address, and limit your comment to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, I'm Valerie Bergstrom, Manistee Downtown Development Authority Board Member and Board Treasurer, 1224 Critter Trail, Manistee, Michigan. On the agenda tonight is a request for City Council to approve Tom Kaminsky as an interim director for the Manistee Downtown Development Authority. Tom, I wanted to give you a little bit of background on Tom. Tom Kaminsky was born and raised in Manistee and attended Manistee Catholic Central. He's a graduate of Ferris State University with a bachelor's degree in business administration. Mr. Kaminsky worked 31 and a half years as the county administrator for Manistee County before he retired March 1st, 2008, so it's very recent. During Tom Kaminsky's career, he was responsible for a multi-million-dollar annual budget, answered to a 7-member board of commissioners, and was very involved in every aspect of county government. Mr. Kaminsky also represented the county on various economic development boards and commissions during his tenure. He managed all the administrative duties, in addition, for the Manistee Local Revenue Sharing Board, which distributes between $1.5 and $2 million per year in grants to local government entities. On behalf of the Manistee Downtown Development Authority, we respectfully request your approval of Tom Kaminsky as our interim director until a full-time executive director is hired. We look forward to your approval. Thank you.
Hello, Shelley Doyen, the Ideal Kitchen owner, 421 River Street, Manistee, Michigan. I am here this evening to support the approval of Tom Kaminsky for the DDA interim. You know, the DDA is so important to building owners, business owners, I mean, our whole community as a downtown, of course, and in our entire county. You know, it is statistically proven that a vibrant, beautiful, thriving, unique downtown brings people to our community, along with all of our natural resources and everything else we have going on down here, or over here, will actually, anyone that's doing that will come downtown to see what's happening. If it's dying, the community is going to be dying. So I just feel that the DDA is super important to us, and I just think that we would really like to see Tom, because I think he's going to be a really good asset if you vote for him, to help assist the building owners, the downtown business owners, to work with the city. And you know, we all have issues. You know, we say, you know, gosh, we wish that the landscaping could be different, or we have the TIF renewal coming up, or we have the garbage stuff, or whatever the case may be. We really need someone to help us between those two entities. And so we love it downtown. We're growing. I've been here for 12 years, and it's amazing to see the growth in our business owners and our building owners. and our community and the people that are coming here for the very first time. So we had a terrific summer. We're going to have a terrific winter, I know. And I just hope you support Tom as well. Thanks.
My name is Nicole Knapp, the Fillmore, 318 River Street, Manistee, Michigan. I'm also in support of Tom as the DDA director. I think we need an interim. We need to come together with some sort of cohesion between the DDA and the city. And without a director, without a TIF, without a vision, none of that, it's just not going to be good. I think that it's really important that we have a point of contact. The board cannot continue to be this like point of contact because there isn't one voice. And so until we get something else worked out, I think Tom is naturally the best decision for not only the DDA, but for the community and the city that we all live in. So thank you very much.
Are there any other citizen comments? If not, we'll move on to the consent agenda. All agenda items marked with an asterisk are on the consent agenda and considered by the city manager to be routine matters. Prior to approval of the consent agenda, any member of council may have an item from the consent agenda removed and taken up during the regular portion of the meeting. Consent agenda items include approval of minutes, cash balances, quarterly financial update, quarterly investment update, and notification regarding next work session. At this time, council could take action to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Grabowski. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper. Yes. Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Unfinished business, we have none. New business. Item A, consideration of budget amendment 2019-1 for fiscal year ending June 30, 2019. City of Manistee is required by state law to ensure that actual expenditures do not exceed budgeted amounts. Over the course of the current fiscal year, unanticipated and unbudgeted events and/or council-approved expenditures have occurred. The proposed budget amendment addresses expenditures associated with these events to ensure compliance with state statutes regarding appropriations. At this time, council could take action to adopt budget amendment 2019-1 for fiscal year ending June 30, 2019.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Bradford, could you please go over some of the changes?
I'd be happy to, Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. There's just a few items here that I can go through each one of them. The first one has to do with the clerk's department. We had a change in personnel in the police department that impacted the benefits that the city clerk would receive because she was married to that person. So there's going to be 1 month of her being on our regular insurance, and then after that she's allowed to opt out. So that happens routinely when we have qualifying events. So for instance, if I was covered under my spouse's insurance, my spouse lost her job, I would be allowed to go onto the city's insurance. So that covers the first two that you have in front of you. We had a capital outlay of $122,000 proposed budget increase for the 12th Street Sewer Project, which was originally budgeted in the prior fiscal year, but it slipped into this fiscal year as to when it actually happened and needed to be paid for. So those funds will come out of the fund balance that are the cash reserves of the utility fund because they weren't expended in the prior fiscal year. Earlier this year, the council approved the water pilot grant for the amount of $331,000. We need to do a budget amendment for that line item, and we'll get reimbursed by the state for that. Municipal Marina, we're proposing a $10,000 increase in the diesel fuel supplies. That's not uncommon. That number fluctuates depending on what the price of diesel fuel is and how much is sold. Keep in mind that our sales track that directly, so even though we have an increase in the cost, we're going to have an increase in the sales as well. And our profit margin, it'll fall out of that naturally. The next item is the repairs for the SAISH damage. We penciled that in at $400,000. That's based on the engineer's estimate, and we'll be getting reimbursed by insurance for that in the spring when that project is bid and approved by council. And then for motor pool, there was a typo on this. The last one is for utilities pickup, that there wasn't a dollar amount included in your packet. That should have been $43,000. That was approved in the fiscal year 2018 budget, but those funds weren't expended because of the delay in getting the Fords. I believe, and Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, that was related to that fire that they had in a plant that did aluminum castings, and it interfered with the production of the trucks. So in any event, we didn't get that until fiscal year 2019. But again, those funds were not expended in the prior fiscal year, so they're just sitting there in fund balance, and it'll absorb that. Are there any questions?
Are we drawing down the fund balance for any of this, or is it pretty much offsetting?
Well, in the last one, I just gave you an example of the fund balance would have been higher.
From last year?
Yeah, it would have been higher than it otherwise would have been. So over a 2-year period, we're not impacting the fund balance on that. The only one that would have an impact directly on the fund balance would be the health insurance changes. But those are so small in relation to a $6.5 million budget, I don't think it'll have any negligible or any material impact at the. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item B, consideration of a resolution, Vogue Theater liquor license request. The Manistee Downtown Development Authority has submitted a resolution for council to approve the issuance of a liquor license for Vogue Theater at 383 River Street from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission under the redevelopment program. This agenda item has been reviewed by Public Safety Director, who provided no objections to this request. At this time, council could take action to approve a resolution supporting the application by the Vogue Theater of 383 River Street for a liquor license through the Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
I'll make the motion.
Second then.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski, a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion?
Well, I'd like to know more what they're getting the license for. Right? Is it gonna be just special events, or is it gonna be every day, or?
I believe that in talking with Steve Brower, the idea was to serve beer and wine. They weren't interested in the inventory for liquor and liquor sales, but they think it would aid in their revenue and traffic to be able to serve beer and wine during movies.
Oh, every day. Okay.
It's not uncommon downstate in some larger metropolitan areas. And I think it would be unique if we approved it because we don't have any theaters near us that are currently doing it. I think Traverse City might have a couple, but I think it would put us in a special niche for that, so.
Not unlike the application for the Ramsdale Theater. You know, it's one of those things that enhances the draw for performances and stuff and adds to the revenue stream.
I didn't know if it was just for every day or if it was special events, so I'm fine with that.
Any other questions or comments?
I was just wondering if that TJ's is gonna have any objections to that being an establishment that sells beer and wine and liquor too. I was just wondering if the owners of that are gonna be mad.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could make the same argument when the Ramsdale got their license also.
Yeah.
I'm sure some people are going to consume alcohol at the Ramsdale that would have walked down the street to TJ's or some other establishment, and you probably have some of the same thing there. I'm not sure what the late movie showings, if, it's gonna have that much of an impact anyhow.
They'll get started there and then they'll go to TJ's.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item C, consideration of interim DDA director. The DDA Board of Directors voted and approved hiring Tom Kaminsky as an interim director and has requested city council approval. At this time, council could take action on the request by the DDA to approve the selection of Tom Kaminsky as interim director for the Downtown Development Authority.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Cooper. Is there any discussion?
Mayor, I think Tom would be a very good choice for that. He's very, I've known him quite a while, just like they have over there. And I think he'd be for $25 an hour, I think that's a bargain to have him taking care of the DDA until we get a permanent person. I'm all for it.
Okay. Any other comments?
No.
City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item D, consideration of a resolution recognizing the Manistee Chippewa 350 Club as a nonprofit organization. The Manistee Chippewa 350 Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. They've started the qualification process to be formally recognized by the state of Michigan as a local nonprofit organization. This recognition would allow them to apply for a raffle license through the Michigan Lottery Charitable Gaming Division. Prior to the state of Michigan issuing the license, the Manistee Chippewa 350 Club must qualify as a local nonprofit organization through recognition by the Manistee City Council. At this time, council could take action to recognize the Manistee Chippewa 350 Club as a local nonprofit organization for the purpose of applying for the charitable gaming license through the state of Michigan.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Goodspeed. Is there any discussion? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski. Councilmember Goodspeed.
it. Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item E, consideration of modifications to Council Policy CP-23, Retiree Health Insurance Policy. City Council Policy CP-23, Retiree Health Insurance Policy does not align with the current practice. When CP-23 was adopted in February 1999, eligible retirees were required to remain on the city's health insurance plan to receive a monthly stipend for retiree health care. In the intervening years, and contrary to the policy, eligible city retirees have been allowed to receive the monthly stipend without remaining on the city's health insurance plan. When given the opportunity, all eligible employees elected to receive the stipend and purchase health care on the open market. Additionally, the stipend has been eliminated in the fire and DPW contracts for future retirees and is subject to binding arbitration with both police units. There are 7 retirees that remain on the city's health insurance plan. Those employees should be given an opportunity to receive the monthly stipend and purchase health insurance on the open market. Staff believes that there are less expensive options on the open market for those retirees. At this time, council could take action to direct staff to modify CP-23 to align with the city's current practice and allow retirees currently on the city's health insurance plan the opportunity to receive the monthly stipend and purchase health insurance on the open market.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski and a second by Councilmember Beaton. Is there any discussion?
I don't believe it affects, because Kirsten is my wife, it affects me, but do I need to abstain from this?
No, I don't see a conflict that
I
would
didn't
require
see it
that.
either, but I wasn't gonna jump in yet.
Appreciate
I have some questions. Do we know the thoughts from the 7 retirees that would be affected?
We haven't reached out to them, but those employees that have been given the choice, virtually every one takes the money and gets their health care elsewhere.
So you think that'll be the trend then with these?
I think there might be one that won't move, but I think it's safe to say that the majority would probably move if we can find something less expensive.
This says that all eligible employees elected to receive the stipend and purchase on the open market, although we had an employee that stayed on the health plan.
Don't know which, I don't know which employee you're
Julie Beardsley.
But I don't think she had the option.
You know, I'm kind of curious, we have a plan, and it says that we haven't been following the plan. I mean, is there any awareness of who made the decision?
The council made the decisions by approving the contracts
Okay,
in those years.
okay.
But I don't know why, but no one took the opportunity to amend the policy. And so this came to light when we wrapped it up with the fire department. And so it was time to make all of these modifications because they haven't been made. It hasn't been done outside the purview of the council. All of these changes were made through contract negotiations that were approved by council. So it's just what we have written in the policy hasn't kept up with the practice that we have.
There was a discussion at one time about now having an experience rating because inadvertently there were retirees that were on the city health plan. And that rating experience resulted in a reduction in our rates. Is giving people an option to move off going to drop us below the number of people we need for a rating experience and increase the cost?
Possibly, but that rating number is a moving target. They change that on a regular basis. We thought it would be more cost-effective to the city to get as many off the insurance program as we could. It stands to reason that the older you get, probably the likelihood for use of health care increases. So that could impact our experience negatively.
So is this going to be like a one-time decision? You can't switch back and forth? You decide to go one way, you're gonna have to stay that way?
Right.
Okay, just curious.
Next question I've got is it indicates here that with the DPW and the fire department contracts, that future retirees will not be getting the stipend.
Correct.
And so their option, it won't matter at all.
No, they're not, when they get no stipend, the city's not giving them anything towards their health care.
Retirement when they leave the service, okay?
Can I clarify? It's for most of the contracts, I think all 4 of the union contracts, it's for employees that were hired after July 1, 2012. So there will be future retirees that will get the $250, but as the memo said, for fire, they've agreed, and for DPW, they've agreed that they will take it in cash and they can stay on our plan. The police contracts, we've negotiated that same provision, but those are going to arbitration. And then when the employee handbook is updated here shortly for the general employees, it will have the same provision in it. So once those are all implemented, then future retirees will just get the stipend and won't be able to stay on our plan.
People hired after the date will not get a stipend?
They won't get it at all, correct, yep.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? City Clerk, would you please take roll?
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Beaton.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Zelinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Goodspeed.
Yes.
Mayor Smith.
Yes.
Councilmember Grabowski.
Yes.
Councilmember Pontiac.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Notices, communications, and announcements. Item A, there is no report from the tree commission tonight? Or is
Your
there?
Honor, I do not see them here.
No, they were notified.
Email that said this person was ill?
I didn't get that email.
I got the email that said the person was ill.
Yeah, I haven't seen that email.
Okay. Move on to concerns and comments. Citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to comment on municipal services, activities, or areas of city involvement. Citizens in attendance shall be recognized by the mayor for comment. Please limit to 5 minutes. Letters submitted to council will not be publicly read. Are there any citizens that wish to make comment? If not, we move on to officials and staff. City manager,
Nothing at this time.
city attorney,
Nothing, Your Honor, thank you.
city clerk,
Nothing, Your Honor.
DPW,
Nothing, Your Honor.
finance director,
Nothing, Your Honor.
public safety director,
Nothing, Your Honor.
city engineer.
Nothing, Your Honor. Oh, really? How we doing?
You,
I thought I tested this time.
I think the best way to do a quick summary is probably when I report from here on, I'll talk about rural development 1 and rural development 2, which is RD1 is the lining project and RD2 is the work at the wastewater treatment plant. So RD1, we had the application submitted and accepted, and we have a checklist from rural development. It started out with 30 items on it. We need to work our way through that before we can actually have a closing on the loan. And one of the final items on there is actually bidding the project. So we've been working, Ed and myself and the city's been working on getting through that list. We're through 10 out of the 30 items. We're down to about 20 plus or minus items we have to still continue to work on before we can close on that loan. So that's the financing part of RD1. Design-wise, we have been through a lot of videotapes of sewers and we've identified candidates. We're going to meet with city staff on next Wednesday to review some of those and start really shaping the project that will happen in next summer and get into the specifics. And once we tie that down, we can actually work on plans and getting bidding documents ready to bid in the spring. Actually, probably more like late winter, January, February. RD2, financing-wise, we have an application draft in, project engineering report into RD. But one of the key things we're waiting right now is closing on the purchase agreement with Morton Salt. And we've been working back and forth on that. And when the purchase agreement is in place, then it kind of sets some dominoes off where we can get a baseline environmental assessment submitted to the DEQ. When that's submitted to the DEQ, RD can complete their environmental assessment and then basically start finalizing the review of our application and send it off to the feds at a national level for review because it's more than $5 million. On the design side, we're still moving ahead because